Before we begin, let me inform you that you can find a lot of videos about adventure games in my channel, like the full history videos of Quest for Glory, Space Quest, King's Quest, Gabriel Knight, and a 2-hour documentary on the history of the genre with the rise and fall of the adventure games. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it. 2022 has been great so far for adventure games fans. There are numerous announced releases by both indie and bigger studios. We even have a new upcoming game by the founders of Sierra, Ken and Roberta Williams. The game will be Colossal Cave 3D, a remake of the classic text adventure Colossal Cave Adventure. You can find the trailer and relevant videos in my channel. On April 1st, we had a new announcement for another adventure game that the fans were waiting for decades. I am talking about the return to Monkey Island, that it is not only coming, but it will be developed by Ron Gilbert and Dave Grossman, the creators of the original Monkey Island series. The announcement was met with hundreds of posts from fans worldwide across multiple social media platforms. The 58-second teaser that followed, however, spawned a big discussion along with numerous fans criticizing the decision to follow a modern, stylized art design and not a retro pixel-style direction. In this video, I will try to address those issues based on the information we have so far and the interviews Ron Gilbert and Dave Grossman have given after the announcement. The goal is to provide an early analysis of what we know so far about the return to Monkey Island and discuss what we can expect for it. As I was preparing this video though, something new happened that we will discuss in the end of the video, as it may be a major change in the development plan of the new Monkey Island game. Let's start with the actual teaser and a small breakdown of it to see what has been revealed so far, along with a couple of early screenshots that have been revealed also.
Ron Gilbert told me he'd never make another Monkey Island unless...
That was a bit short, but still it has some basic information. While we do not have a release date mentioned, we know that the game will be developed by Terrible Toybox, Ron Gilbert's studio that has previously given us the amazing Thimbleweed Park adventure game. The return to Monkey Island is made under license from Lucasfilm Games, which has its own significance, as Ron Gilbert had mentioned in the past that he would not do another Monkey Island game unless he owned the IP's rights, and yet he had chosen to do so, develop a new Monkey Island game that is. Finally, it is revealed that the game will be distributed by Devolver, which is also important mainly because it can lead us to the assumption of the supported platforms, but we will have more on this in the relevant section of this video. A couple of days after the teaser, the first screenshots were revealed. We can see a rundown version of the Melee Island Church and a reference in the famous fencing of the previous games through the placement of this insult sword fighting book on the shelf of the locksmith. Another court seems to be in place in this game, as the courtroom is revealed in another screenshot. In the next section of this video, I will try to deep dive in some of the questions fans have after the announcement, along with tackling some concerns that have been raised in social media. I have to mention that I am in no way associated with the development of this video game, and the reason I'm doing this video is to spread the word about the new Monkey Island and to gather in a single place all the bits and pieces of information we have so far. The sources are the information revealed so far and research on the latest Ron Gilbert and Dave Grossman interviews across various media and websites. The obvious elephant in the room and the topic discussed the most is the art direction of the upcoming return to Monkey Island. Based on the teaser trailer and the release screenshots, we can all see that the game will follow a modern, edgy look with stylized characters and backgrounds. Immediately after the trailer was revealed, numerous fans pointed out that the team should have used a pixel art direction. The reason this happened is the legacy of the Monkey Island series, a game that started back in the Sierra and LucasArts adventure game era, where the games of the latter were solely based on the SCUM engine which Ron Gilbert had created during the development of Maniac Mansion and utilized pixel art graphics. Well, first things first, pixel art back in the day was not a decision per se, but a compromise artists had to make in order to make their games available for the technology back then. In the late 80s and early 90s, adventure games were mainly 2D with hand-drawn characters, backgrounds and animations. Artists had to draw everything on paper and then digitize it using the technology of the time. That led to the pixel effect as we call it today, but it actually was a downscaling of the high-resolution hand-drawn designs. Pixel art is a popular fad these days as many games are being developed with art style reminiscent of the way video games looked back in the 90s. This is mainly done to cater for the nostalgia aspect of many old-school fans of the genre, as we can all relate to games that look and feel like the games we loved decades before. Ron Gilbert had paid homage to that era with a modern game utilizing pixel artwork style of the early 90s, Thimbleweed Park, which was a spiritual successor to his very first game, 1987's Maniac Mansion. As he stated in a recent interview, on Thimbleweed Park, I don't think an article appeared where people didn't call it a throwback game. And that always stung me a little bit with Thimbleweed because it's like we were trying a lot of new things. There is a lot of interesting design stuff going on there, and I always thought that it was better than a throwback game. When it comes to the new Monkey Island, I personally believe it is not just about producing a new chapter in an old and beloved series, but evolving the franchise itself and broadening the audience it attracts. A possible choice of going again with pixel art would have given immense joy to the old school fans, but also make the game irrelevant to newer and younger demographics. We can argue all day about how great those old games looked back in the day, but that is mostly based on our nostalgia of the era and not on solid facts that those games looked better than more contemporary ones. As Ron Gilbert mentioned on the art direction topic, it's more than an evolution. The pixel art has been done before. We are now 35 years from the last pixel art game version of Monkey Island, and I wanted to embrace something new and to try something new for the art style and kind of continue the tradition almost of re-examining what the art was for Monkey Island. Regarding the new art style, there were a lot of comments that mentioned that the true reason behind this decision was that the Disney company, who now owns LucasArts, had pushed for such a direction to follow its own vision of how animation should look nowadays. I personally believe, and history has proven it, that Ron Gilbert is not a man who would compromise his vision or artistic and creative freedom of any new game to cater for big corporate needs and directions. He left LucasArts back in 1992 to form his own company, Humongous Entertainment, to produce games the way he wanted to. More Ron Gilbert studios followed, in all of which he had the freedom to work the way he wanted and to make the games he envisioned. The return to Monkey Island is being developed by Terrible Toybox, the latest company Ron Gilbert had formed alongside the creation of Thimbleweed Park, which was co-developed by another Maniac Mansion key figure and ex-LucasArts employee, Gary Winnick. He had even mentioned in the past that he would not do a new Monkey Island game unless he owned the rights. When asked why he's creating a new game while not owning the Monkey Island rights, Ron Gilbert said, "And I think the more important thing, rather than owning it, was that I really wanted to have creative freedom. I didn't want to make a game and having somebody tell me what I should make. It's not a work for hire gig, so what was probably more important than actually owning it was being able to make the game we wanted to make." The next issue raised by fans is the actual user interface of the Return to Monkey Island. The screenshot showed a full-screen game with probably a pure point-and-click interface and not something resembling to the old-school SCUMM engine. That was a topic of another debate that spawned, similar to the case of pixel art not being used. The reasoning why such a system has been used is more or less the same with the art direction one. Ron Gilbert and his team wanted to create something that will be an evolution for the Monkey Island franchise and not just make the old school fans happy. The use of an engine where 1/3 of the screen will be taken up by the verb action commands and inventory would have been great for the fans of the first LucasArts games, but it would mean nothing to the newer audiences other than making the game look like an oddity. The SCUMM engine is considered today a major aspect of the old-school LucasArts games and one of the reasons so many gamers love them. However, even back then, the company tried to evolve its game engines and reinvent the traditional Lucas-style user interface. Later releases, even in the Monkey Island franchise, shifted from the SCUMM way of depicting action and user interface to a full-screen approach where a point-and-click mouse option was utilized. You may remember the coin interface in The Curse of Monkey Island that was fresh and revolutionary for that time and has also been used in another iconic LucasArts game, Full Throttle. To return to the issue at hand and to summarize the answer for the first three questions, the new Monkey Island has a very delicate balance to hold. On the one hand, it has to be true to the original franchise's style, story and humor, and on the other hand, to be relevant today both to old and new fans. Ron Gilbert said it best in his Adventure Gamers interview. What do we need to do? What is the right thing we need to do for this? Evolving things, evolving the franchise, embracing new audiences, all these things, those are the big questions that we need to ask ourselves. The next question regards the platforms that the game will be available. Since the team wants to attract new audiences, I believe we can safely assume that it will be available for a big variety of systems. The fact that the distribution will be under Devolver Digital can also direct us towards the platforms that this company supports. Obviously, the game will be available for the PC and Mac OS. If we take Thimbleweed Park as a good reference, since it was developed by the same team, it will not be a surprise to see the return to Monkey Island on modern consoles like the PlayStation, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. A Linux port is also possible, along with mobile versions of the upcoming game for the iOS and the Android. Another question is whether we will see a physical release. Personally, I would love a big box physical version or even a collector's edition with a lot of extra goodies, and I think that the team knows that a large portion of the franchise's fans would love to have something to put on their shelves. The only issue I have to mention here is that a possible physical release should be a mass market one and not one under those limited physical release companies. We have seen in the past re-releases of old Monkey Island games in physical form from some companies like Limited Run Games. The business model of those companies is a bit controversial since they would ask you to pay now for a pre-order item that hasn't even started production. This results in huge delays in shipments and a lot of cases where gamers would pay today for something that they will get in 2 or 3 years' time. Thimbleweed Park is such an unfortunate example also. It had a Limited Run Games physical release version and another one from Fangamer that were both sold out pretty soon and now fetch very high prices in the secondary market. The hype of a new Monkey Island physical release, if done in a limited form, would only lead to bots ruining it for everyone. The last question is whether we should support this new game, and the answer, to me at least, is straightforward: yes. It will be the new chapter in a beloved franchise by the original team utilizing modern technology and approach. I believe that we, as fans of the genre, should become the main ambassadors of the return to Monkey Island and spread the word to new audiences. It would be amazing for new and younger gamers to enjoy this upcoming game, something that can also lead them to revisit the older classics. However, as mentioned in the beginning of this video, something new happened that I do not find positive. Ron Gilbert's personal website, grumpygamer.com, is down, showing the below message when someone visits it. Now, if this is the result of the backlash from lots of fans regarding the upcoming game's graphic style, or there is a new website in the works, is not clear yet. Let's hope that there will be no change of mind for Ron Gilbert regarding the new Monkey Island game, or even worse, a possible cancellation. I will follow the story in the coming days and update with a new video when new information is available. That was all for this video, where I have tried to gather all the information we have to date regarding the development and release of the Return to Monkey Island. I would love to know what you think about this new upcoming game in the comment section of this video. Do not forget to watch my other adventure game videos in my channel, like the full retrospectives of iconic franchises like King's Quest and Space Quest. You can also find a 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it. Thank you all for watching.